And welcome back. This is our second episode of the Ocean Studio of this day. I think it's our fourth or fifth episode of Messiah and Son. This is pertaining to the actual Messiah and Son of God, who would be David, not the mythical creation and misnomer, Jesus. Uh, Today is a beautiful day here in the Caribbean. It's a wonderful Shabbat. You can see I have a Wookiee here with me on the top of the table. You might even hear some squeaking behind the microphone. That is my wonderful yellow lab, Asher, and she is playing with Kara, who is our newest addition and a puppy, and they're just having a swell time. So we'll see how well I can do on the delivery. The material we're going to cover is magnificent, so hopefully the inspiration of the lyrics of this psalm will be sufficient to overcome the occasional interruption with our beloved fur phrases here on the island. The 89th Mizmor continues with these words. It says, "The spiritual realm of the heavens is yours. The material realm of the world and all that is in it is yours as well. You laid the foundation for them and you created them. The north and the south, you have conceived them. Tabor, the broken, the shattered, crippled, and crushed." Well, and this is something we'll go back to in a moment. And they're Shimon, the banned and the exterminated. We'll talk about that more in a moment as well. Shout for joy in your name, Psalm 89:12. Well, this is kind of a thinking man's interlude here in this transition. But the key thing for us to have an appreciation of is that the universe is rather large. There are 2 trillion galaxies that are currently known. 2 trillion. Our galaxy, which we call the Milky Way, is just one of these 2 trillion galaxies. Within our galaxy, there are somewhere around 2 to 400 billion stars. Even in our own galaxy, we can't deduce the number of stars because, well, we're out here on a spiral leg of the galaxy, and it's very difficult for us to see through the center of it. So that's just the reality of it. And there may be upwards of a trillion planets within this galaxy. But the fact of the matter is, we'll never get to any of them. I think it would be somewhere in the range of 70,000 years for us to get to the nearest star. And of course, it's just absolutely impossible. So that's not going to happen. And it's not just that the universe is big. And the part that I just shared with you is only 5% of it. 95% of the universe is actually beyond our perceptions. It's what we are calling dark energy and dark matter for now. Dark because we don't know what it is, other than some of it's repulsive and some of it's attractive. And even in the part that we can see, it's only the part that we can see, because with the space itself expanding, part of the universe is expanding so fast away from us that light can't make its way to us, which means it's just beyond our view, not that it doesn't exist. So the scale is astronomical, so to speak. But it's not just that the universe is Yahweh's, that he conceived it. It's that this planet is as well. This planet is actually designed to be a larger version of the replica of it called Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. So Earth was established as Gan Eden. It doesn't have quite as many protections. The Gan Eden had protections in the sense there was no dying, there was no shortage of anything that was needed, perfect weather, perfect conditions, and no victimization of any kind. No religion, no politics, no disagreements in Eden. The earth is designed so that it could replicate Eden, and one day it will replicate Eden. We're only 7.5 years away from the earth being transformed back into the conditions of Eden, and a precious few of you are going to be allowed back into it. But this is Yahweh's, and it gives Yahweh another 1,000 years to work with us, so we get our act together, so that we show that we can be trusted, that we are interesting, that we're observant, that we're good listeners, that we're responsive, and that when we make a mistake, we get up, we correct our mistake, and move on. All of this is what's in store for us moving forward. So that is the material realm of the world, the Tebel, our planet. And so all that is in it is conceived by that which Yahweh has made. So it reminds me, there's always that funny line where science says, we now can create life from inorganic material. Of course, science can't. They have no idea how to conceive life, even plant life, much less animal life with a conscience, from inorganic material. But the comic just says, okay, so science now can do one better than God. We can, or at least one as good as God. We can create life. And God said, oh, great. Let's see you do it. And so the scientist grabs some of the elements of the earth and starts to the process. God said, no. Get your own damn dirt. So it's all God's. Everything that is made has been made from what God conceived. And so God created all of them, the far north, the far south, the east, and the west. He conceived all of it. But it's not just the good that God conceived. This says the Tabor, the broken. That's the shattered, the crippled, the crushed. Now, this happens to be a high hill in Lower Galilee. It's located where the battle that Deborah and Barak waged against the Canaanites. So it's a rather important place in Israelite history. Deborah was one of the, if not the most remarkable women in Israelite history. She was the one who, as a judge and a prophet, stood up and said, you're a bunch of girls, you're a bunch of wimps, Israel. You're allowing this horrible man to enslave you and torment you, and none of you have the backbone and the courage to stand up against him. And she, though, even had to find a man to lead the army against him. His name was Barak, which means to lift up. Deborah is a play off the Hebrew word for word, amalgamated with the Hebrew word for honey. So she purified the honey, and Barak the muscle to lift up. And they waged this battle against the Canaanites and prevailed. In fact, it was a woman that ultimately drove a stake through the presumed location was called the Transfiguration, and the location where in 55 CE 10,000 Yehudim slaughtered by the Romans, and then countless more in 66 CE by Emperor Vespasian. Later, Muslims and Crusaders fought there. It is from Tabar and from Shabar to be broken down and violently maimed. The other place that is listed in the Psalm, prophetic of what would happen, because this was written right around 964 BCE, long before any of these battles were waged. The other is Shimon. It means the banned and the exterminated. Shimon is the accursed, the mutilated, and destroyed. It's the mountain in the Golan, along with the Israel, Syrian, and Lebanese border. It's the site of what was very intense fighting during the Six-Day War in 1967. Again, in the Yom Kippur War in 1973 against the Muslims. And now it serves as an Israeli observation post to monitor Syrian and Lebanese jihadists. This word was incorporated into Arabic and used to denigrate, ban, and curse Jews from Sharam, to prohibit and utterly destroy dedicating something to extermination. God saying, Psalmist is saying, God, this is all you're doing. So shout for joy in your name. Even when things are rough, there is the potential for a positive outcome. When we fall, we have the opportunity to get up. God is looking from us. It's not for life to be perfect. It's not for us to make every right decision. It's not for us to begin with comprehensive knowledge or never make a mistake. It is for us to learn from our mistakes, to get up once we fall, to show that we have the wherewithal to prosper, even when times are tough and there are obstacles in the way. So this distinction is vitally important, and yet it is missed by religious adherents. Yes, a day will come when Yahweh, his Zeroah, will use their words to mashal, demonstrably and vividly rule over the Geruth, the devastating arrogance of the Yam, which serves as a metaphor for anti-Semitic Gentiles. Further, we find that father and son will shabak, expose and stop, nasha, gal, those who have arisen by crafting deceitful delusions pertaining to them. On that day, Yahweh and Dod will daka, reject and defeat the Chalal, the reprehensible and deadly nature of Rahab, the pretentious afflicter and his false god. And this suggests that while the primary Zeroah is Dod, and he has fought 66 successful battles to defend Yisrael, the fact of the matter is that most of the fighting, as it relates to exterminating Israel's foes prior to Dod's return on Kippurim, is going to be accomplished by Yahweh. And he will do so on Teruah, as the final Zeroah is, after having successfully conducted the final ingathering, will serve as the means to purge this mortal remnant of Yisrael that will be there to re-enter Eden 15 days thereafter. And so it is the Zeroah that will make such a difference at this time. And the two Zeroah will team up and they will serve one another. Well, the lesser Zeroah, the last Zeroah, will certainly serve the foremost Zeroah, that is for sure. And this is important because it's what God wants to achieve as we are. So we're not actually called to rise up and slaughter. Kiva's followers attempted to carry out against Rome, obviously for results. We're not called to be terrorists as Mohammedans or crusaders as popes have concluded. Unless it's in self-defense, as was the case with Dod protecting Yahweh's family, we should limit our attacks to courageously wielding God's words. He'll take it from there. He'll do it. And that even applies to Israel being attacked by Muslims. If Israel had the fortitude to remove Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, to actually remove the Muslims and the Christians from Israel, and to live separate of them, to read and make required reading goddamn religion, all 5 volumes, and Twistianity, all 5 volumes of it, as well as ridding Israel of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam in accordance with Yahweh's teaching in this way, then there would be no Muslims. There would be no Christians. There would be no Marxists. There'd be no one tormenting God's people. So you can wield God's words wisely and follow his advice and excoriate the religions and the political decrees that are so hostile to Israel, Marxism, socialism, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, and prevail. Don't need to lift anything more than a pen. of the influence of religion is not only God's responsibility, but okay. I understand that we have serious audio problems, so we're going to end this program and start anew. Is that okay with you, Wookie?